This begins our unit on Congress and interest groups. Congress, of course, is in Article 1 of the Constitution since they make the laws. And the second thing that they do is they check and make sure the executive branch is doing what it should be doing. That's called oversight. And of course, if the executive branch is not doing as intended, they write new bills which the president would then sign or not. It's a two-house legislature. There are 435 members in the House of Representatives, the lower house, 11 of which are from Virginia. It's based on population. The upper house is the Senate. There are 100 members and 2 are from Virginia, as they are from all states. Okay, let's go through what each house does. First, the House is elected for 2-year terms. They are elected like as with the Senate in even years. They start in odd years. They have a 2-year term in the House. Members must be 25. All revenue bills, these are bills that raise money. These are tax bills, must start in the House before they go to the Senate. The House has the right to impeach presidents and federal judges. We have had 2 presidents impeached, Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton. Contrary to popular belief, Richard Nixon was never impeached. The bill to impeach him, or the articles to impeach him, had gotten through the Judiciary Committee. They included some votes for it from Republicans, which was the party of Richard Nixon, and so rather than be impeached, he resigned. There is a Rules Committee in the House. This committee is used once a bill gets through committee. It goes to the Rules Committee. The committee decides when it's going to be put on the calendar for the entire floor. They also decide how long a member can speak. They also decide whether or not a bill can be amended. If it can't be amended, it's called fast tracking. Members of the House, since there's so many more than the Senate, are much more specialized. For example, you might remember Al Gore, who ran for president in 2000. He has become famous because of his beliefs on the environment. He also was a big specialist on arms control. The re-election rate is very high. It's typically 95%, but the House has a higher turnover rate than the Senate. This is because the House members, many like to go on to higher office like the U.S. Senate, or like to go to the governor's mansions, or even occasionally to mayor's office, like the mayor of New York. Last on this list is a discharge petition. If you can't get a bill through a committee, and committees are made up of majority members of the majority party, majority of members of the majority party, such as today that would be Republicans in the House. If you get 217 signatures, which is one more than half of 435, then it automatically is sent to the House. But this is very rare, because that would mean, in the case of today, getting some Republicans to sign on. Okay, this is a Stephen Colbert, whom you know, speaking before a hearing.
To Mr. Colbert for his spot.
Hearings are used for 2 things, as I said in the last slide. 1, to make sure that the executive branch is doing its job, and 2, they're used to discuss a bill. The Senate, a little bit different. We have terms of 6 years, so roughly 1/3 of the Senate is voted into office every 2 years. You have to be 30 years old to be a senator when you take office. The job here, in part, is to advise and consent to the president's appointments, such as federal court judges, such as cabinet secretaries who run our major departments, such as ambassadors who run our U.S. embassies abroad. They also approve treaties. All of these are done by a simple majority. They also try judges and presidents. They need to have a 2/3 majority to convict someone. They also have the right to filibuster any bill. This actually is not in the Constitution. This was decided by rules. They decided to do this because they consider themselves an austere or a more gentlewoman or gentlemanly organization. And so this is when one member can talk literally forever. The record is 25 hours by Strom Thurmond, except today what they do is they just threaten a filibuster, and until they can find enough votes for cloture, which is 60 votes out of 100, the bill is delayed. Their reelection rate is lower, it's about 85%, because members of the Senate have to adhere to a more middle of the road philosophy or ideology. And the problem with that is when you run for re-election, sometimes a member of the same party is going to run to your right if you're conservative or left if you're liberal. So these people are not elected at the same rate that the House is. That's it. See you soon.